If you showed me where the money your paycheck goes, I could probably tell you within 5 seconds whether or not you would actually be creating a life you love or digging yourself a hole that you probably won't be able to get out of. At the end of the day, most people spend all their money uh, as they get money coming in from their paycheck. They spend their money on things that don't necessarily matter and don't necessarily build wealth. And today I wanted to talk about the one law of money that if you don't have under control is going to ruin you. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about a story from my past. When I graduated from college, I ran into a problem where every 2 weeks, when I would get my paycheck, I would go into my banking statement. I would send money to my credit card to pay off the credit card, and then there wouldn't be a lot of money left. And it didn't dawn on me what I was doing until things got a little bit out of control. Where there was one month I like distinctly remember it, where I went to send the money to the credit card, and the amount of money that the credit card needed was less than the amount that I was sending. And I came to the realization, oh crap, I've done something where the math doesn't work. And if you've ever found yourself in that situation, you probably went scratching your head trying to understand, like, what did I do wrong? How did I miscalculate by that much? And this problem is probably not just my problem, or wasn't just my problem at the time. I knew people who were in a similar situation to myself who also found themselves in this situation, and I kind of want to explain to you the remedy of how to get out of this situation. Jim Rohn talks about this idea of saving 30% of your income, or what do you teach a child to do with a dollar? And he basically explains that 10% should get put into a jar for passive investments. 10% should get put into a jar for active investments, where you're going out trying to flip a dollar, and the other 10 cents should go to charity. So kind of your tithing, your investing, as well as like building a business. And that struck a chord with me, mainly because it teaches you one thing. It's this idea of paying yourself first. If I don't take off the table what is rightfully mine, then at the end of the day, I'm just going to give it away. And I think by reframing what you're making and declaring that a percentage of your income is yours, it gives you a lot of power in ultimately putting yourself into a situation where you now have something to fall back on if something goes catastrophically wrong. Um, it wasn't until probably 3 or 4 months after that I had this incident where I learned this lesson. And the great thing is nowadays, with the way that most direct deposits work for most places of employment, there's actually you can put in multiple accounts. So what I did was, some people try to do all this on the in the same bank. Me personally, I'm a big fan of going to a completely separate institution and saying, this money over here is my money, and I'm going to make it difficult for me to dip into that savings unless it's for a really good reason. Basically, I didn't get myself an ATM card or anything like that. I told myself that the only way that I could take money out of that account is I had to physically walk into a bank. I needed to fill out the slip and hand it to the teller to get the money. And by creating that friction, one, you're less likely to go and actually get it. But two, by creating that friction, it really makes you think whenever you're going to tap into that. Why am I tapping into that? Is this actually important to me? It makes you ask deeper questions to ultimately get yourself into a situation where you now know why it is you're doing the things that you're doing. And while this message is like a very straightforward message, I think a lot of people have a hard time getting here. So I wanted to talk through a couple of things that you can consider if you don't feel like you have that ability. So, what is one thing that you're currently spending money on that you don't necessarily feel anything for. Like there's no real value associated with it. A lot of times we build up these habits of walking into Starbucks, getting our $5 latte, and walking out. I'm not saying that you need to cut your Starbucks latte. It's just help you understand the things that you value and make sure that you actually value them, or if it's just an ingrained habit that has been built over time. As soon as you kind of separate yourself and say, hey, could I make my own coffee at home? Could I maybe not go out as often, pack my lunch, whatever? A lot of times we have to take a step back in order to move ourselves forward. And what you'll find is once you actually start hitting 10% pretty consistently, 20% pretty consistently, 30% pretty consistently, you don't think about it. Once the habit is built, once you've done the thing that you need to do, you can now take the time to say, okay, this money that's just sitting there, how do I want to grow that money? How do I want to make that money go work for me? Whether that be, going saving it up until you can get into like a real estate deal, or is there a particular stock that you're interested in buying, or a mutual fund, that type of thing. I'm not advocating for any one of those investment strategies. It's just at the end of the day, you have to figure out how to consciously take money off the table and say, this is for me, this is for my future. And ultimately, the goal with personal finance and the goal with building up this nest egg is, one, giving you a little bit of peace of mind that if something does go south, you have that money set aside where things can go, you can tap into it, kind of your rainy day fund. But what's great is you now get to create a sense of abundance of, hey, if something does significantly happen. I mean, 2 years ago when during COVID, I got laid off. I had 2 years worth of income essentially just set aside, where like not in retirement accounts, not in any type of qualified plan, just sitting in a bank account. And I knew I had given myself enough runway where I could, if I wanted to, I could take a bet on myself. I didn't have to go find another job. At the time, I was already doing kind of a side hustle, helping people grow their YouTube channels. And by being able to go all in on that, I was able to very quickly get myself back to what I was making at my day job and beyond. And I think by having the systems and the processes in place in order to take this principle and run with it and just like set it and forget it is going to be crucial to ultimately helping you build the life you love. And if you're not 100% sure of what kind of life that you're trying to build, and you're thinking of different businesses that you could run, here's a video on 3 different businesses where I kind of walk through kind of the high level pros, cons, that type of thing, so that you can then take that information to go deeper. So check out this video right here, and I will see you in that video.